The click of the shutter was louder than a gunshot in the perfectly silent rose garden. Through my 200-millimeter lens, the image was crystal clear. The groom, Travis Sterling, had his face buried in the neck of the maid of honor, Jessica Hale. His hand wasn't resting on her waist. It was gripping her, fingers dug in, fabric bunched beneath his palm. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't accidental. It was possession, pure, unfiltered lust. And in exactly 45 minutes, he was scheduled to stand at the altar and promise forever to Sophia Ellington. My heart stopped. The air felt suddenly thick, heavy with the smell of roses, damp savanna earth, and expensive cologne. Casablanca lilies, $4,000 worth. I knew because I'd signed the check. I was frozen behind a trellis of wisteria, my fingers still hovering over the shutter button. I had come out here to test the light for Sophia's bridal portraits, chasing that soft golden hour glow every bride dreams of. Instead, I had captured 5 frames that rearranged my entire understanding of the day. I lowered the camera and stared at the LCD screen. Frame 1, the lean. Frame 2, the grab. Frame 3, the kiss full, unrestrained. Frame 4, Travis smiling afterward. That smug, arrogant smile I disliked from our very first consultation. Frame 5, Jessica pulling him closer, her bouquet crushed between them like collateral damage. They had no idea I was there. They had no idea that in less than an hour, their secret would detonate in front of everyone Travis Sterling cared about. He patted Jessica's hip and laughed something low and guttural before straightening his tuxedo jacket and turning toward the main house. "Fix your lipstick," he said, not even looking back. "We have a schedule." Jessica waited a beat. Then she checked her reflection in her iPhone, reapplied her lipstick with careful precision, smoothed her champagne-colored silk dress, and followed him. I stayed behind alone. My hands were trembling as they gripped my Canon R5. 5 camera bodies worth of equipment, worth more than my first car. My stomach twisted violently. A wave of nausea rolled through me so hard I had to brace myself against the trellis. I wasn't just a vendor anymore. I was a witness, and in 3 hours I was going to destroy a man's carefully constructed image in front of every single person he had invited to admire him. My name is Mallory Quinn. I'm 34 years old, and I've spent the last 12 years documenting what are supposed to be the happiest days of people's lives. I'm a wedding photographer based in Charleston, South Carolina, specializing in high-end destination weddings, the kind with 6-figure budgets, custom letterpress invitations that cost $50 each, floral arrangements so elaborate they could bury a small village. I've shot over 400 weddings. I've seen everything: the nervous jitters, the drunk uncles, the cold feet, the last-minute meltdowns over weather, seating charts, and missing cufflinks. I've seen real love. And I've seen business mergers disguised as romance. My specialty is candid photography. The moments people forget they're being watched. The stolen glances, the tremble in a father's hand when he sees his daughter in her dress, the quiet exhale of relief after the ceremony when it's finally over. My job is to see everything while appearing invisible, to capture the truth even when people are trying their hardest to sell a polished fiction. My studio is a renovated loft in downtown Charleston, exposed brick, tall windows, clean northern light. It's my sanctuary. It's where I cull thousands of images, where I curate memories that will outlive marriages, sometimes even lives. People trust me with their most vulnerable moments. They pay me thousands of dollars to frame them in the best possible light. My starting package is $8,500, but sometimes the light reveals things no one wants to see. This wedding was the union of 2 prominent Southern families. Sophia Ellington, 26, old money, soft-spoken, sweet as peach pie, naive in the way only sheltered wealth can produce. And Travis Sterling, 32, new money, tech startup arrogance, a smile that never quite reached his eyes. The budget was astronomical: a sprawling estate outside Savannah, Spanish moss dripping from ancient oaks, a guest list that read like a Southern society registry, and me, hired to document every perfect detail. I had reservations from the very first consultation. We met in my studio. Travis interrupted Sophia 3 times in the first 20 minutes. He dismissed her ideas about the venue, laughed at her desire for a first look. "We don't need that sentimental crap, Mel," he said. "Just get the shots." He checked his Rolex more often than he looked at his fiancée. Red flag number 1. In the wedding industry, we call them red flags. But really, they're warning flares everyone chooses to ignore because the deposit has already cleared. Red flag number 2 came during timeline planning. We met at a coffee shop on King Street 2 weeks before the wedding. Sophia wanted sunset photos by the lake. "The light will be perfect at 6:15. She said, hopeful, "It'll be our first quiet moment." Travis didn't even look up from his phone. 6:15 is cocktail hour. I'll be networking. Investors from San Francisco don't care about golden hour. "It's just 20 minutes, Sophia whispered. 20 minutes is a lifetime, he snapped, finally looking at me with that car. Salesman grin, Mallory gets it. We're paying for coverage, not art. Right, Mel? I gave him my best customer service smile. Sunset photos are usually the ones people frame. I said carefully. Travis laughed. We'll frame the ones with the senator. Sophia stared into her latte, shoulders slumped. I wanted to tell her then. I wanted to say run, but I wasn't her friend. I wasn't her therapist. I was the photographer. Red flag number 3 came during the engagement shoot. 10 days before the wedding, he showed up 40 minutes late. No apology, he smelled faintly of bourbon and another woman's perfume, something heavy and musky, not the light floral scent Sophia always wore. He spent the entire shoot texting. Travis, I said, frustration slipping into my voice, can you look at your future wife for 5 minutes? I am looking, he said, eyes still on his screen. We don't need to perform for the camera, right, babe? Sophia forced a smile. It's okay, he stressed, the IPO coming up. I snapped the photo. In the high-resolution file, you could see the sadness in her eyes, the way she leaned into him, the way he leaned away. Later, in post-production, I zoomed in. While she looked at him with adoration, he was checking stock prices. Red flag number 4 was his mother, Diane Sterling, a woman who wore her diamonds like armor. At the rehearsal dinner, she cornered Sophia near the buffet. Try not to eat too much cake tomorrow, dear, she said loudly. That dress is unforgiving. Travis likes a slim waist. Sophia turned crimson. And close your mouth when you smile, Diane added, patting her cheek. Too much gum looks unrefined. Travis was across the room laughing with his frat brothers. I took the photo. Sophia looked like a scolded child. This wasn't a marriage. It was a hostage situation. Red flag number 5 was Jessica. The maid of honor is usually the bride's fiercest protector. Jessica wasn't. She was stunning, sharp-edged. During the dress fitting, she commented more on her own reflection than Sophia's $10 0 Vera Wang gown. Does this make my waist look small enough? She asked, twirling. You look beautiful, Sophia said automatically. I know, Jessica smirked. Travis loves this color on me. The room went quiet. He helped pick the palette. Jessica added quickly. I zoomed in on her face. Her eyes weren't on Sophia. They were on herself, calculating, predatory. 2 days before the wedding, I overheard the phone call. I was doing a lighting walkthrough near the groom's room when I heard Travis's voice through the cracked door. She's clueless, he said. Once the ring's on, the assets are merged. I'll have access to the trust by Monday. Pause. Yeah, she's annoying, but she's rich. It's an investment. I froze. I didn't confront him. I should have. But I told myself I misunderstood. I told myself I didn't have proof. I told myself I was just the vendor. I was wrong. Standing in the rose garden, staring at the 5 photos glowing on my camera screen, I heard my mother's voice in my head. The camera doesn't lie, Mel. People do. And suddenly, I understood exactly what I had to do. I stood in that rose garden for a full minute after they left. 60 seconds of silence, 60 seconds of reckoning. My hands were still shaking, but my mind was suddenly razor sharp. That's what fear does when it turns into purpose. It stops being panic and becomes clarity. My mother used to say, seeing is visceral. Knowing is intellectual. Once you see the truth, you can't pretend it didn't happen. Mom was a photojournalist in the 80s. Real work, protests, conflict zones, brutal honesty. I grew up in darkrooms, breathing in vinegar and developer, watching images bloom slowly on paper like ghosts being summoned. She died 5 years ago from ovarian cancer. Fast, merciless. Before she passed, she left me her vintage Leica collection and a modest trust fund, $73,000. That money built my studio, that belief built my spine. I could hear her now. What story is the image telling you, Mel? And the story was screaming. I checked the time, 3:15 p.m. The ceremony started at 4:30. I had 1 hour and 15 minutes to decide what kind of photographer I was going to be. I walked back toward the main house, boots crunching over gravel, Spanish moss swaying gently above me like nothing in the world was wrong. Option A, delete the photos, take the check, deliver a flawless gallery in 6 weeks, safe, professional. Cowardly, option B, tell Sophia right now, walk into the bridal suite, blow everything up, ruin her makeup, her day, her fantasy. Be painted as unstable, get sued, possibly end my career. Option C, wait, expose him in a way he couldn't deny. In front of the only audience he actually cared about. The estate was breathtaking. Everything was staged to perfection. White roses, silk runners, crystal glassware, a lie wrapped in tulle and money. Travis Sterling hadn't just cheated. He cheated here, at the venue, on the day, with her best friend. That level of disrespect wasn't subtle. It was loud. It meant he felt untouchable. And then I remembered the slideshow. During our final planning meeting, Travis had leaned back in his chair, tapping a gold pen against my conference table. I want a slideshow during dinner, he said. Raw shots from the day, immediate gratification. Everyone sees what you've been doing all day. I explained that editing took time. Just raw files, he insisted. I brought my own projector, high-lumen, dedicated laptop. I wrote the script myself. He had smiled when he said it. Seamless, automated, no human error. My lungs forgot how to work. The projector was already set up in the ballroom. The script scanned the DSIM folder and looped everything inside it. No curation, no filtering, just whatever existed. A plan formed instantly, dangerous, unethical, career, ending if done wrong, also flawless. I went to the vendor room. A cramped side parlor labeled staff only. I sat down, pulled out my MacBook Pro, and removed the CF Express card from my camera. My hands were trembling, my movements were precise. 842 images so far, details, dress, rings, Sophia's mother crying as she zipped the gown. Then files 8,902 through 8,908, the sharpest photos I'd ever taken. I created a new folder. I named it DSIM. I dragged in 50 safe photos, then the 5 from the garden, not sequentially, carefully placed. I opened Lightroom. If I was doing this, I was doing it right. I cropped Travis's face, the mole on his cheek visible. I cropped Jessica's face. Pearl earrings, Sophia's gift glistening. I left one wide shot, the rose garden unmistakable. I renamed the files to blend in. Review 045, JPG Review 046, JPG Review 047, JPG Review 048, JPG Review 049, JPG. I exported them at full resolution. Then copied everything to a SanDisk USB drive. Mallory. I jumped. The wedding planner stood in the doorway, clipboard in hand. They're lining up. Grooms heading out. We need you at the altar in 5. I slammed my laptop shut and slid the USB into my pocket. You okay? She asked. You look pale. Adrenaline. I lied. The ceremony was unbearable. I did my job. Travis said, I do, like it was a closing deal. Sophia said it like it was a prayer. Jessica stood beside her, holding the bouquet, smiling thinly. I photographed all 3 of them together, the holy trinity of deception. When they kissed, the guests cheered. I thought about the other kiss, the real one. Family formals followed. Jessica, get closer to Travis, I said. He stiffened, she leaned in. Sophia beamed, click, evidence. The reception began at 6:30, fairy lights. Champagne, applause. I went to the AV table. A bored teenager in headphones looked up as I approached. Travis asked me to load the slideshow. I said, sneak peeks before the toasts. Plug it in. He shrugged. I did. My heart slammed against my ribs. I positioned myself near a pillar, 85mm lens mounted, ISO 3200, shutter 1/250, f/1, 8. I needed reactions. The slideshow began. Venue shots, dress, cufflinks, applause. Travis wasn't watching. Sophia was. Jessica reapplied lip gloss. Minute 1. Minute 2. My watch buzzed. 120 BPM. Minute 3. The cake. Then the rose garden. The room took a second to understand. Then the grab. The kiss. Silence collapsed the tent. Sophia froze, her fork midair. Travis, she whispered. He looked up. His face went white. Turn it off, he screamed, but the loop continued, his smile, Jessica's hands in his hair. Chaos exploded. Sophia's mother stood. She poured red wine down Travis's shirt. You bastard. Travis spotted me. Where is that bitch photographer? I stepped forward, raised my camera. Click. Sophia slapped Jessica. Hard, you were sober, she said. Then she looked at me and nodded. I left fast, locked my studio, backed up everything, and waited. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor of my studio with my back against the door, lights off, camera bag still slung over my shoulder like armor. Every sound outside made my heart kick. I kept checking my phone, my email, my security camera feed, half expecting Travis Sterling's black G wagon to come tearing down King Street. Adrenaline wears off eventually. When it does, reality hits like a truck. I had just detonated $1 million wedding. I had violated at least 10 clauses of my contract. I had humiliated a powerful man in front of his investors, his board, and his family. And I didn't regret it. By morning, Savannah was on fire, not literally but digitally. Someone had filmed the slideshow reveal on their phone. Another guest caught Travis screaming. Someone else recorded Sophia slapping Jessica. By 9:00 a.m., the clips were everywhere. Rich groom exposed at wedding reception. Cheating slideshow stuns Savannah elite. Projector reveals infidelity minutes after I do. TikTok, Instagram, local blogs, group chats. I didn't post a single thing. I didn't have to. Travis tried to get ahead of it. By noon, his lawyer released a statement. The photos were fake, AI-generated, deepfakes, they accused me. By name, Mallory Quinn is a fraud. She attempted to extort my client. When he refused, she fabricated images to destroy his reputation. That was his fatal mistake. He didn't just deny the affair. He attacked my integrity. I didn't respond with words. I responded with data. Sophia filed for annulment the next morning. Her family moved fast. Old money always does. Their divorce attorney hired a forensic digital analyst, and I handed over everything. Raw files, metadata, serial numbers, timestamps, no edits, no AI, just light hitting a sensor at 2:47 p.m. The expert verified it publicly, no manipulation, no tampering, no fake pixels. Travis's story collapsed instantly. So did his startup. Investors pulled out within days. The IPO evaporated. The board forced him out 3 months later on ethics concerns. He didn't just lose Sophia. He lost the trust fund, the company, the future he'd been bragging about stealing. Jessica moved to Atlanta. She lost her job at the gallery. Sophia's aunt owned it. Savannah is small, memory is long. Then came the lawsuit. Travis sued me for breach of contract and intentional infliction of emotional distress. My insurance company nearly fainted. My lawyer didn't. Her name was Meredith Stone, $850 an hour. St. Lawrence suits. Eyes that lit up when someone underestimated her. We sat in her corner office, sipping sparkling water that probably cost more than my groceries. Can he win? I asked. She smiled. He can try. I explained the slideshow, the request, the automation. Meredith laughed. Malicious compliance, she said. My favorite. She slid a folder toward me. I've already drafted a countersuit, unpaid overtime, harassment. I exhaled for the first time in days. We settled out of court. I refunded the $12.00 fee. That was it. A cheap price for the truth. I thought my career was over. I was wrong. My phone started ringing, not with cancellations. With new bookings, wives, brides, quiet voices asking careful questions. If my fiancé's cheating, one woman said, I want to know before I sign anything. I raised my prices by 50%. I booked out 2 years. I became known as the truth photographer. 3 years later, I was shooting a small wedding on the coast. No drama, no spectacle. I noticed a woman watching from the dunes. Shorter hair, linen suit. Sophia. She smiled when she saw me. I dodged a nuclear missile, she said. Then she handed me a card. Let's work together. She'd started a wedding planning business. No drama events. Travis now sells crypto courses online. He DM'd me once. One word. Why? I replied, the camera doesn't lie. Neither should you. People think the most important moment in a wedding is the kiss. It isn't. It's the moment right before. That half second where people forget they're being watched. That's where the truth lives. After the Sterling wedding, my life settled into a new rhythm. I stopped chasing perfection and started documenting character. I still photographed beauty, soft light, laughter, elegance, but I paid closer attention to the margins of the frame. Hands distance body language, who leaned in, who pulled away. I built a quiet system. Every bride got a private folder. Nothing dramatic, nothing accusatory, just facts. If a groom flirted with a bridesmaid, it went in the folder. If he shut it down respectfully, that went in the folder too. Most folders stayed empty, some didn't. One woman emailed me the morning after her wedding. Best gift I received. Thank you for the peace of mind. That's when I knew I'd found my lane. Sophia and I worked together twice that year. Her events were calm. Intentional, no excess, no performative romance. She had a gift for spotting trouble early. So did I. We never talked about Travis again. We didn't need to. Some men don't deserve the space they take up in memory. A year later, I received a handwritten note, no return address. Inside was a single sentence, thank you for forcing me to look. I pinned it above my editing desk, right next to my mother's old Leica. Every once in a while, someone asks me if I regret it. If I wish I'd stayed silent. If it was worth the stress, the lawsuits, the risk. I always give the same answer. I didn't ruin a wedding. I prevented a lifetime. The last time I saw Travis Sterling's face, it wasn't on social media. It was in a photograph, his eyes wild, shirt stained red, mask gone. That image will never be framed. But it will never be deleted either. My mother used to say something else, back when I was learning how to load film in the dark. You don't take pictures, Mel. You hold mirrors. She was right, and mirrors don't lie. If you ever find yourself wondering whether to speak up, whether it's your place, whether the truth will cost too much, remember this. Silence has a price too. And it's usually paid by the wrong person. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. I share stories of women who didn't look away. And remember, always check the background of your selfies. You never know who's watching through a 200mm lens.